Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Car Biz Chronicles. You know, the first 2 episodes we focused on the front end of the house. This time we're going to focus on the back end with fixed ops. And I could think of no one better to have a discussion with than the fixed ops mastermind himself, Fixed Ops Foy, Dave Foy. It was phenomenal. This guy's depth of knowledge. I mean, he started working in a gas station when he was 13 years old. He lives this business. He's phenomenal. One of the quotes that stood out to me was, take care of customers and the money will follow. And I think Dave really personifies what I'm trying to get done with this year's Car Biz Chronicles and people in process, because he just gets it. He talks about how process changes will affect RO count, and looking at your people, sort of individually will help you better than sort of blanketing an opinion. So please get your pens, get your pencils, sit down and listen to one of the most engaging, honest, and smart fixed ops digital people I have ever had the pleasure of meeting in my life. Once again, Dave, thank you so much. Audience, please sit back and enjoy Dave Foy talking all things fixed ops. Hello and welcome into another episode of Season 2, the Car Biz Chronicles. I'm joined today by Dave Foy. Dave, nice to have you, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful, wonderful. We are here in Boston, Massachusetts, getting caught up with Dave on people and process, which is the overall theme of this year, as you guys have probably seen by now. And when we talk people and process, we're looking to really dive into best practices. And that's what we're going to jump into today. But Dave's been doing this over 30 years, so I think it's necessary to get a little bit of the origin story. Dave, tell me, where did it all start?
So if I go way back, it started when I was 13 in a gas station.
Okay.
I was, times have changed. I was running a gas station when I was 13 on Sundays, was my day to run the gas station. That was my first parlay, if you will, into the automotive business.
Awesome.
From there, it faded away until after high school. I went into Ford's asset program. I was a tech for a few years.
Okay.
I was a horrible tech.
But what made you? When you say that, what do you mean by that? It's tongue in cheek.
I wasn't that great at diagnosing cars, fixing cars, which is kind of funny because now standing back as I overlook my guys and stuff, I can see things from the higher perspective and help them figure out how to do things.
Forest through the trees type thing, right? Yeah.
When it was me in the trees, I was doing nothing but banging my head.
But to be fair, the tech's come a long way too.
Oh, yeah,
from what you were doing, right? You guys were having to do a lot of manual diagnosis. Now it's plug it in.
Exactly.
What does it?
It was blinking lights to get codes back then, and then good luck.
Right.
So from there, I went to a different dealer on the desk as an advisor. I was at that place for 10 years or so.
As an advisor?
As an advisor.
How'd you like that
with Ford? I loved it. It was. I felt like as soon as I got there, I'd found my way.
Okay.
I won a bunch of awards from Ford. Took some lovely trips, and until Ford decided there's no more trips for stops people.
Sure. Only for sales people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You've been far enough in the world. So.
Yeah. See, I'm interested by that because when I think about advisors on the desk, and I think about salespeople on the front end, I never drew a line between the two of them. I didn't understand why service advisors didn't want to make you their customer.
Yeah.
Like why wouldn't they just come back and always ask for you?
Right.
Is that something that you tried to do when you were in that role? Really develop that relationship?
Yeah, absolutely. And I always wanted to know who that customer was when they were walking in the door. And obviously, this was way before there were appointment processes,
schedulers, online in general.
Yeah. We were using ADP before it was CDK.
Sure.
And very rarely did we actually make an appointment for somebody.
Right.
It was just come on in. You opened the door at 7:30 and there were 30 people outside there, and it was literally type away RO, type away RO.
Get the car sent back.
Yeah, just get it going. But it was knowing those people, whether you knew they were coming in or not, knowing that Sean was coming in today, and hey, how you doing? It turned into a lot of key tossers that were coming in the door, which was awesome.
Yeah, because there's not a lot of predetermined things, right? You can really just get in, you can get that environment, get that relationship. Yeah. That's interesting to hear you say that on the appointment side, though. How the appointment scheduling has really evolved on that end.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where on the front end, we tried really hard for the last decade to do it, and now the appointment idea is starting to dwindle on the front half, which is very interesting. So,
from the fixed op side, the appointments are
crucial, right? And we try to press that same thing, but I don't think customers view us on the sales side like they do you guys. I think they're like, I'll get there when I.
Yeah, and obviously it's a little different when you're shopping for a new car. You're typically not shopping because you have to have a new car, as opposed to my check engine light on.
I don't get that call, right? I don't get that call says, you know what I need today? A new car. You get the call says, hey, my car's on the side of the road.
Right.
I get that. So this was Ford. You were there for quite a while.
Yeah.
So that brings us, about halfway through the journey with Ford as an advisor?
Yeah, and then I went to a Lincoln Mercury store, very small Lincoln Mercury store, as a service manager. It was, I was not prepared for it and did not do well in that role. I went back to that same Ford dealership that I was at, and the service manager there was leaving and going to another dealership, and he brought me on. He was going to be the director. He brought me on as his manager there, and helped me along the way.
So that help there was probably what really kind of turned it for you. Absolutely. If your last gig didn't work, you kind of went back to where you started.
Yeah.
And the service manager was cool.
He was
like,
awesome.
Hey, come on in, let's work to get you better, because some of that stuff becomes, you're here for my job, I'm not okay with, not going to help you, right?
Yeah. But no, I've been very lucky. I've had 3 mentors primarily along the way. The first one at that Ford store, who was a customer service guru. I learned a ton about taking care of customers and making them the primary focus of what you're doing. Not making money, taking care of a customer, and the money will follow that.
Okay.
And the guy who was the assistant service manager, who was leaving to go to be the director at another store, who took me with him, was the guy who really taught me the financial side of things and the process side of things. And then the last guy was a guy who was like top line financial stuff. He was a fixed ops director for the Bach Group, and taught me about all the ins and outs of how to read financial statements, all that other stuff. So
that's when things get fun. Looking at financial statements.
Yeah, absolutely.
The first time you look at one, you're like, I don't know what all those numbers on the screen is. I'm about to throw up looking at it, but as soon as we're done, I always just kind of scroll down to the bottom and be like, is this the number I care about? I'm like, yep, that's the number I care about.
That's the one.
Okay, let's go to work on that one. So that was about what, in the last 10 years where you really kind of got all that dialed in and got where you wanted to be?
Absolutely. That's 8 to 10 years or so, and got all the knowledge that I need.
Where are we today?
So
what is today's role?
Today's role is service director at a Nissan store. Preparing to move on to another role. We'll be overseeing more than one store. So
fixed ops director in that regard, because I mean, right now you're a fixed ops manager. If you will, of a single point, it becomes a director role. Multiple. What do you, when you look at that role? What excites you? Number one, and what scares the pants off of you? Number 2.
Sure. So what excites me is it's the first store that I'm starting with is an underperforming store. I always say, as a New England guy, you put me in as the quarterback of the Patriots right now, I got one way to go, and that's down. There's no way. So if you're going to take over a store that's already performing at a high level, it's going to be a lot more difficult to take it to a higher level.
Sure.
I would rather take over the Cleveland Browns and work that, and be able to
have some potential, have some opportunity.
Potential, absolutely. There's a lot more potential there on the upside. Obviously, the downside is that it's something that's broken that you can't fix, which I don't believe exists. I think everything can be fixed.
So the biggest fear is something that it exists because it could possibly be the case, right? So your fear is, what if it's so bad I can't fix it?
Yeah.
But you don't believe that's possible anyway.
No, as long as the people are willing to work with you and change, as long as the people above me are willing to change, which I believe they are. So I wouldn't be going there if I didn't believe that.
So when you say underperforming, because again, I'm mainly a front end guy.
Yeah.
When you say underperforming, what is that? What do you identify?
So from simply a gross number, it's running about 150K gross below what I believe it should be doing monthly. So
monthly. Okay. Well, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big jump.
If you think there's $100,000 a month laying around somewhere, as an owner, I'd like to be able to have you come in and find that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. That's $1 million to a year. I'm in. If you have it. So you talked about, which is perfect, because as we talk about people and process, you said if the people are willing.
Yes.
How is it that you'll A, assess that, and B, change that if they're not?
So I subscribe to a theory that Ed Milet, for anybody that knows Ed Milet, talks about, which is you have to have a massive vision that is so big that the vision of all your people can fit inside your massive vision. So you provide them with what the overall vision is for where you want to go.
Okay.
And you give them a way that what they're looking for in their life can fit inside that. So
you have already been toying with the idea of what your massive vision looks like.
Absolutely.
I assume.
Absolutely.
How do you get buy-in on the massive vision?
It's a belief.
Okay.
And number one, the belief has to come from me. I believe that we can hit that
and make your lives
more
better,
person.
Right? Ultimately,
Absolutely.
if you're going to bring in $150,000, someone's going to make more money besides the
You're all
owner.
making more money,
right?
You're all making
Tax.
more money together.
That means we're going to do more.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that's the initial sell is that you're going to make more money
Financially.
Financially.
Yeah.
You can get your initial buy-in from that.
Okay.
From there, it's working processes and getting them to see how the processes, although initially are going to be a little more difficult because it's not something that they're used to. In the end, it's going to make their lives better and easier.
Because the
to
process
deal
that
with.
exists today at that delership is broken. Otherwise, they wouldn't be out $150 a month. Right?
Exactly.
So you're going to come in and say, "Time to change process,"
Yes.
and they're going to go,
"Yeah, I don't
we've
know
been
if I
doing
wanna do
things the
that."
same way for X amount of years." To which
Exactly.
you get to reply, "That's why I'm here.
Exactly.
I get that. Let's do it together." So will you? I know you will, but will you dig in and see what's currently being done and try to adjust from within, or do you just have a plan you know you're going to walk in with because you've been running Nissan stores for so long? You have a tried and true plan.
I mean, I know what my plan is.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to walk in there and just
Put the plan down.
hammer that plan in.
Yeah.
Typically, what I like to do is take the first couple weeks, just observe what's going on, and get to know the people a little more. So that number one, they can become more comfortable with me.
Sure.
And I want them to understand that I'm there to protect them and to help them. I will give them cover fire when they need it, as long as they're doing what's right.
You're happy to do that.
For the company, I am more than happy to provide them with the cover fire from higher ups to keep them off of
Which
them.
is a big part of the gig in general. You know, is to be able to keep, because for our company here at Car Biz, that's what we do for dealers on the marketing side. Is we just keep you away from all the craziness that goes on with the vendors and the nuts and reporting, all this other stuff you can't keep track of. Is we protect you from that. But in your world, when you go in to do that, what is, because you've done it before. I mean, you've obviously been in a Nissan store. You've arranged processes.
Yeah.
But in this gig, you're going to work with someone, right?
Yeah.
Who was the service manager, which they will still be, but they've never really had a director above them, right? And you guys share kind of the same distance in the business, as long as you've been in it. How do you intend on dealing with that sort of coming in as someone who thinks that you're there to replace them, which clearly you're not, because you're above them, but maybe they thought they should be above, maybe they thought that should be their job.
Sure.
How do you envision that?
I see that more as a partnership. Obviously, this person has a ton of experience, which means I have a lot that I can take from them to learn.
Yeah.
I don't ever believe that I'm the smartest guy in the room. And as the saying goes, if I am, I need to get the fuck out of that room.
Right, I need to find a new fucking room, right? Yeah, for sure.
I need a new room.
For sure. That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I mean, I'm excited about what I can learn from her.
Because people in process is both ways, right? So you can get there. Maybe there's something within their process you go, I actually, this works. You know, it's just maybe we try this instead of this, but this part works.
Exactly.
So when you look at people and process, which do you believe kind of chicken or the egg? Which do you believe comes first?
I believe you have to have the people bought in before you can have the process ahead of time, but the people have to be bought into it, or the process doesn't work, no matter how good it is.
Do you believe that anyone can be put into a position, or do you believe that certain people just may be over their heads in certain positions?
I believe that anybody can do any position so long as they're willing to put in the effort.
And follow the process. Back to your, as much as I do not like to talk about New England Patriots, because it doesn't matter to me. I'm actually a Packer fan. It's irrelevant. But I've always been of the belief that, again, Tom Brady is what Tom Brady is. But if tomorrow something happened, they wouldn't necessarily fall completely on their faces because they've been following such a specific set of processes for the last 15 years, whatever it is, under one guy's tutelage. Yes. Then the next guy, he won't be Tom Brady, but you won't be the Browns.
Yeah,
right?
Right, exactly.
So that's pretty impressive when you look at process, because I like how you talk about bringing the people in first.
Yeah.
Because I've always done it as process first. I've always said, look, dude, here's the process. Come with me and fit in.
Sure.
You know, whereas people are always kind of retrospectively thinking about it. People are like, well, but I don't understand it, right? I don't get it. I didn't have their buy-in previous to even asking them for that. Yeah. So, interesting. Well, today, if you were to, not today, you're walking into an underperforming store. What's going to be the first process that you're going to really look at to say, this is what I need to put my first
process is always the service drive.
Okay.
It's the first place the customers are interacting with our store. It's the first place that our customers are interacting with our advisors, valets, whoever's there.
Okay.
And without customers, none of this really matters. So.
Please, my God, thank you so much. I always say that about my industry. I say that about vendors in general. Is without dealers like yourselves, the rest of us have no place in the world.
Sure.
What are we? Okay, service drive. Come with me further down the funnel. What are we looking at? I mean, are we talking about how it's set up? Are we talking about where the desks for advisors are? Like, are you going to that distance, or are you talking more about what happens once a customer pulls up, advisor walks around?
Yeah, you have to. Every service drive is a little set up a little different. So obviously, you have to look at that initial setup and how the customer is even arriving into the store. Is it a service drive where you can, like I currently have now, you can see them pulling off the street? You've got more than enough time to get off the desk and into the drive before they even get to that 2 feet before the door, make the door open.
To be ready.
Or is it one where, door's open and crap, someone's here?
And again, I've been seeing this now with the newer stores, service advisor on the other side of the glass. Like, people pull in now. Back in the day, service advisor was in the door would open up, he'd be in a winter jacket because it's cold, you know what I'm saying? And now they're all in like these cushy sort of cubicle offices. With this, you said something interesting that I don't find a lot anymore. I don't see advisors getting off the desk to greet customers. I find the valet situation, the guy who's just putting in mats, checking keys, that's his only gig, and he seems to be more on top of his shit than the guy who's probably making 3x his money.
Very true.
You know, why is that, right? So service drive, people, how do you have the expectation your advisor gets off, if available, you get off one's ass.
It's a non-negotiable.
Really?
Non-negotiable. You've got to greet the customer at the car. Whether you have a valet or not, that valet is there to say hello to the customer, and that's it.
And probably follow the advisor's whatever, right? If he's standing behind the advisor, folks, no problem. Hey, Jimmy, go ahead and set the keys, get the car back, whatever.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. I spend I spend time in the drive every morning. If I'm out there and one of my advisors is not out there by the time I get to the car, then that's all I'm doing is, good morning, what can I do for you today? And then I'm looking for one of my advisors to be there, to get there,
to get spun off to, right? Like, and this is John.
Yeah, and they know they better get there.
Yeah.
So it's.
I always had that rule. If I gotta up somebody,
well, that's fine.
We got a problem. We got a problem. Not only are you not getting a full deal, but we have we have an individual problem we have to address.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to have to greet. I love greeting customers.
Yeah, me too.
But I've got 90 standing out front. 3 are smoking cigarettes. I'd like to know why one of you can't do it.
Exactly.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So inside the drive, customer comes in. There they are. They're greeted. How do you then what's the next process that's important for you to look at?
So from there to staying in the service drive, making sure the walk around happens.
Okay.
That's the advisor's first opportunity to make a connection with that customer.
Okay.
And you've got, cars are very personal to people. They've got personal things either in them or on them, on the outside of them, that you can make that connection with them.
Tell you a story somewhere.
And use that. Exactly.
As long as it's not politics.
No politics.
As long as somebody says something about somebody's bumper sticker. You know what I'm saying?
If there's a politics bumper sticker, we'll stay away from that.
Quiet down over there.
If there's a Cape Cod bumper sticker or
Patriots.
Or Patriots bumper
Bruins,
sticker,
whatever,
like that,
right?
exactly. Now we got something to talk about.
Right. And you utilize that though? That's part of how you look at the vehicle? Because I always did the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I started in the late 90s.
Yeah.
So you'd have people who'd come in, right, and they'd have Auto Trader magazines. They'd have stacks of papers in their passenger seat.
Yeah.
The car would be washed. Everything would be detailed. You're like, today's the day, right? So folks, I see you're out doing some shopping, right? And whatever, you make a joke. So the service drive, establishing that relationship, is your walk around, because once again, I'm a sales guy.
Yeah.
Sales walk arounds are meant to be silent, which is
Sure.
so silly because we're just pointing and we're humming and we're interesting. You know, I'm running my finger across a scratch that's totally irrelevant, but here it is, a big deal. Is that similar to what are you trying to get? Are you trying to establish value, or are you trying to establish rapport, or both? Like, what is the point of your walk around?
Yeah, it's both value and rapport.
Okay.
Rapport being more important at that point than value, because, as you know, people are going to buy from somebody that they like. So if you can establish that rapport, find a connection where you two can meet, then you've got a better chance later in the day of being able to sell them something.
And you believe that if people are willing, you can teach them
absolutely
to execute this position.
There's nothing that we're doing that's
rocket
science or
correct?
brain surgery or anything like that. It's
agreed.
It's all pretty simple, easy stuff.
It's the 10,000 hour rule, right, to be an expert, etc. But I think in a lot of stuff that I'm reading now and learning about, I think that the idea that the human brain can actually do more than we believe.
Sure.
Like I was reading an article about cab drivers in England. It's the craziest. It's like 2,000 roads. None of them make sense. It's not crossed over. And they did a deal looking at their brains versus 20 non-taxi drivers. These people's brains were larger. They were able to take on more information because they have to. They have to know where they're going. Yeah. So I think in your situation, what you say about people is so true. How do you establish with them what they're looking for? Because money isn't, as weird as it is to me, money isn't the only motivator in one's life.
Right.
And now as I get older, I realize that it's not a motivator in my life either. But how do you establish that relationship with them? How do you try to find that out?
With the advisors.
With the advisors.
So with the advisors, my initial is always I'm doing the same thing that I'm expecting them to do with a customer in the drive. I want to establish some rapport with them. I want to find some common ground between me and that advisor.
Okay.
I want to know married kids' names, pets' names, whatever. I love knowing that stuff about them. I love knowing that, you're asking to leave an hour early today because you got to go to your kid's football game, and that I know that it's Dominic that's playing football, and that kind of stuff. I do the same thing with my techs. I spend a little time every day just walking the shop, not talking work, talking about their kids and whatever it is they care about.
Yeah, I mean, my dad raised me on every sport possible, right? So no matter what day it was, something was on TV, whether it was NASCAR, golf, it didn't matter. There was always something on TV. And it became so important later in life because as a front-end guy, I needed to buy in from the whole dealership, right? I didn't just need buy-in from my sales guy. I needed buy-in from the back end because I need work done, etc. So I'd walk the store and I'd be able to talk to mechanics about NASCAR. Yeah. I'd be able to talk to owner about golf. I'd be able to talk to sales guy about basketball. Yeah. I don't care about any of those three topics. But before I walk in, I check ESPN. I see who won the race. I see who won the golf event. So that at least you have that. Do you have specific meetings, Dave, with your people? Like, is it once a week we're going to do an hour, or twice a week, or is it just as needed? How do you do it?
Yeah, I don't have anything set where we do a 15-minute.
Because as you know from a recent episode of my show, I hate meetings. Yeah, and I despise them. But I wonder from your opportunity, is it something that is so it's not ingrained? So, you don't have it set up that way.
No, and if I'm going to have a whole shop meeting, it's usually a semi-impromptu. And just pull everybody together in one of the bays, and we talk about whatever it is we need to talk
whatever
about.
Just happened, whatever raised it up.
Either it's something that just happened or something that's about to happen.
But Dave's not having a 1 hour Friday morning requirement.
We're not sitting there just talking, and I don't want to have a meeting to have me talk. There's got to be some kind of reason for that.
We have clapping here from the back. Yes, no, it's a wonderful point because if not for that, those seem to me always be the best meetings. The ones that were like, whoa, come here, everyone get around. Like, what we just had happen cannot happen again, and here's why. Yeah. Or what just happened was so cool, we have to repeat it, and here's why. Yeah. With your people, how do you handle just? So salespeople, we have prima donnas, right? Baseball, football's wide receivers. Right. How do you handle your wide receiver? How do you handle the guy who's above all of it because he knows who he is and he does what he does his way?
So my way of handling that is you have to bring them into the fold and kind of it's almost counterintuitive. You have to almost play into the importance that they feel and bring them in and say, look, everybody looks to you. Everybody's following what you do. I need your help. This is what I want to get done. can I count on you to help me with this and whatever it is. And typically I try to make it one specific thing at first, so that person now feels like, hey, he's asking me for help.
Yeah.
And it works counterintuitively. Instead of blowing their head up more,
Yeah.
it tends to make them feel like, oh, I am kind of important, and I want to help him. I want to help Dave out. And that's what I do with the prima donnas, with the wide receivers.
Right. And is there a point where the guy still says, hey, Dave, turns out I'm still good.
Yeah,
I'm not really interested. What
there's always that point, and I've certainly run into some of those guys, and you have one of two choices. Either you can take them aside again and try to work that process over a few times. If that's still not working, your last resort is to just squash that person. And
letting them go.
Either letting them go, or if you have to, you squash them publicly, and you then give a common enemy, that being me, for them to rally against.
Sure.
And that's either going to work or it's not. And then if it doesn't, then that last exit we take is getting rid of that person.
Okay.
But a lot of times you'll find if the initial doesn't work, we're bringing them in and making them feel important. Doesn't work. When you do the squashing, that what tends to happen is you then become the common enemy. And the guys that don't agree with the way they do things will kind of rally all against that and rally with that rather, and that person now comes into the fold of the people that do listen to you, and it tends to bring that it kind of brings it all back down.
A reverse psychology, bring it back around.
Yeah.
That's interesting because from where I sit, again when you look at it up front with prima donnas, typically the rule was the guy sells 20 cars a month. Kind of do what he wants, stays out of my way, stays out of his way. He's an independent contractor as far as I'm concerned. I don't really care. But that what that did was that allowed bad habits to fester throughout my floors.
Right.
People say, well, so-and-so. Then I would say, well, then sell 20 cars a month. and they're like, well, what if we all do?
Yeah.
If you're all selling 20 cars a month, we are not going to have a problem. Like, cover your hours, we'll be fine.
Right.
So when you go back and you look at sort of how you've handled your people and your process.
Yeah.
What do you say is the biggest thing that's changed with you as a person looking at process and people? Like, what have you changed?
I've changed certainly the way that I approach. I was a person who went from 0 to 100 in temper and in
moments.
And it didn't take a lot, but number one, times have changed, and people don't respond to that. You could do that back in the early 90s. You could do that, and then at 5 o'clock it was punching out. You were like that sheepdog and the wolf on that cartoon, where they punch out and then they go away. And that's what it was. You punch out and hey, we go have a beer or whatever, and everything was good.
We're
you
good.
Come back in, we do it again.
Yeah.
You do that now, and it's like
people's feelings are hurt. Everything's done that way.
Yeah, it's
interesting because I haven't run a store, and I haven't been in a store in almost 10 years. And I think that's where my biggest fall off would be, because I'm in stores all the time and I listen and watch the interaction. I think to myself, I couldn't do this. This is very PC, and it's not that. It's just you talk about what I refer to as public execution.
Yeah.
And when you do that, people take notice. Okay. The first gig I ever took as a director was an internet director back in 2005-ish with a group, and I was in my first Friday morning meeting, and I was told this guy was pretty wild, pretty crazy as an owner, but the money he had offered me, I had made a joke to her, short of hitting me, dude, he's free to do what he wants. Like, this is stupid money for this job. Like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
And that was, again, a 20-year-old version of that. But in the meeting, a sales manager was asked a question. Owner said, are you sure that's the answer you want to go with? And he said, yeah. He said, great, stand up. You are fucking fired. Get out. And I thought to myself, holy, this guy's been with him 5 years.
Yeah.
It's Friday morning at 8 a.m. What have I done? Like, why did I take this job, right? Yeah. But you know what happened? Everyone walked out of that meeting. We all huddled around. We're like, okay, do you hear? Do not ever come to a meeting without answers. Yeah. Do not ever tell the guy you don't know. Because if you lie, we're going to get fired.
Right.
No one ever got fired again. I was there another almost 6 years.
Yeah.
Nothing happened.
Yeah.
But that execution publicly really just everyone stood around.
Yeah.
So I did that sort of in a way, and it worked the same way.
Yeah.
But I realized that it's not the best way to do that
it definitely
today
is not.
because everyone gets hurt by it. So you've kind of understood and come with this idea of coming up to date. That sounds so stupid,
It
but getting with the times, if you will, with that.
Yeah.
Has that been a hard adjustment? Because I would call you an old school car guy.
Oh, yeah.
As I would call myself, and most of the guys we're talking.
Yeah. Yes and no.
Okay.
I'm not gonna. I'll call myself an old school car guy, but I'm not a PC car guy. I mean, we're still having the hard conversations.
Yeah.
With the hard words that you don't use at home.
Sure.
Yeah, you know that's.
No, I didn't think that we went into camp here.
We're still having that, and honestly, I expect that from my team too. I expect them to be able to come to me and say
the words that matter to them.
Yeah, look, you fucked this up, Dave. That wasn't the right thing to do. And I'm not going to instantly you can't talk to me like that. It's like, okay, they're coming to me that way. Let's talk about it. Let's find out what's going on.
Are you finding that more people are open to those conversations, to having communication when it's not a yelling sort of a you jack this up sort of thing? I mean, I find people are more willing to talk.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely, and that's and. I always want my team to understand that you can say you have an open door policy, but to have an open door where they come in and they have to be, I'd like to talk to you about something.
Yeah.
It is not really an open door.
Or the open door where the first thing someone tells you to do is close it behind you.
Yeah.
I thought we could talk about this.
Yeah,
no, we can't, right? Yeah. So, as every good conversation dealership starts with, could you grab the door behind you?
Yeah.
Great, thanks. Have a seat. Yeah, wonderful. That's awesome. So, on the idea of sort of you've got yourself into a dealership, you're embedded. Are you often looking at once you're in and established? What are you looking at more on a consistent basis? Is it people or the process? And I know it's both.
Right.
But I mean, what gets the consistent kind of review by you?
Certainly the process has to be looked at all the time, and the process can't be it can't be the 10 commandments that are set in stone. That process has got to be something that is a live document and can morph into something different if it just doesn't work.
So once again, you're not coming in saying process box this way fit in.
No.
You're saying it's more of kind of an ongoing circle where if we need to draw it wider, we'll draw it wider.
Right, and I'll give you an example. In my current role, we brought in a video MPI inspection.
Yeah, cool. Awesome.
And that's what I said.
What a cool tool.
And then all my techs said, oh, no way.
Yeah, of course you do.
No way.
Because we already have this mess time.
Yeah, I already got to check off all these stupid boxes, which you took away my check all green box. I have to click on every one of them. I'm not doing this too.
Yeah.
And it because you have the buy-in of your team, you can say, look, I've never steered you wrong. And when I have, we've talked about it and we've made the adjustments we need to.
Right.
Here's what I need. I need everybody to try it. And then let's go from there. If there's things we need to change, then we change them. But right now, this is what the process is. And let's go with it.
But that's so cool. The video part is so cool.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
it's awesome.
we were utilizing it as late as before I left my dealerships. We were talking about it 06, 07.
Yeah.
Like, guys, take your phone back there and just show the brake pad.
Yeah.
Like, the customer comes up, we've got this stupid image where it's like half a brake and we're circling the red area, and it's like, why don't you just say,
hey, look at
check this out, right? So how do you, I'm going to go a little bit deeper on that process because I love it. With that process, who's presenting the findings? Do you have the video given to the tech or is the advisor?
The video's taken by the tech.
Right.
And I have my videos sent directly from the tech to the customer. No
one does anything.
No middleman.
Just a simple link into their phone, they click it, they open it, it's done.
And when we started it, I did it the other way. I did it where the tech did the video, the advisor got it, and the advisor reviewed it, made sure there were none of those bad words in there getting sent to the customer. And then after, it's like, what you find is you're getting the same thing with that as you get with a regular MPI, where the advisor's like, oh crap, I can't send that one. We just won't send that. You know?
Not your choice.
So, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not up to you.
Yeah.
So, I made the decision we may take some heat. We may get somebody who's going to complain because they heard a bad word on the video, which honestly, I've had zero. Ever. I've never had a complaint. I think people kind of understand it's
a mechanic. You're in a shop. It's not right. That to me is proof that's my car in your shop.
Yeah, and usually if there is the bad word, it's not the guy doing the video. It's someone in the back.
And if it's the guy doing the video, you got a whole nother problem.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, guy, you're holding the video.
Exactly.
Come on.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to say this effing brake pad.
Right.
You just say the brake pad and we'll be fine, right? So that's so cool. How did you come across the video process? What drove you in the direction?
The video thing is something I've known about for a while. I used to do it when early and not with a video, but with pictures, like you said.
Yeah.
If I was out in the drive and somebody had a really corroded battery, and we were testing batteries, and I'd take a picture of the corrosion and walk back in while the advisor was writing them up and go, hey, just so you know, we're doing your battery test, but this is the corrosion on here. You should really get battery service done.
It's hard for people to say no to video of their own car.
Yeah.
It really is.
And
have you noticed the client service go down when you utilize video, or have you not gone into detail?
No, they absolutely go down, and your hours per RO go up. I mean, we saw a spike of a half hour per RO in the first month of using a video MPI.
Guys are paid by the hour. That's a 50% bump.
Yeah.
That's not hard to get a mechanic's buy-in, is it?
No.
If it's like,
and that's
you're like,
exactly
making
what
more per hour, bud? They go, yeah, I do.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. Is guys started going like, oh wow, hey.
As mechanics don't really get this, and I don't think salespeople do either. They kind of have our industry by the balls right now because there's just not enough of them.
Right.
No one wants to do that job anymore?
Yeah.
You know, talk to a 6-year-old kid, he ain't talking about going to diesel college.
No.
He doesn't care. He's not interested.
No.
He wants to go to coder college or whatever. That doesn't help. Well, maybe it'll help us soon with these cars. But so this part of the business in fixed ops, what's the one thing you would leave people with as we wrap this up that is the most important thing that they should be focused on in their service drive? I know it's hard to give me one, but if it has to be two, fine. But give me an idea of what right now today customers should focus on for their service drives.
Customer should focus
No,
on?
I'm sorry. The dealership should focus on their service drives.
People.
People.
It's one word, simple.
People. And
People,
is that both ways?
Whether that's customer or your team of people, it's people. That's what drives everything in this life, but it certainly drives this business.
I love it because you opened up our episode here with talking about take care of a customer and the money will follow.
Absolutely.
And you close it the exact same way.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it, my friend. Where can people find you to follow the Dave Foy journey? Where can we do it?
LinkedIn is where I'm most active.
And you got a nice sized group in there, right? You got something big going on LinkedIn. Tell folks about it.
Fixed Ops Mastermind for everybody involved in fixed ops. Come and join us. We do every other Tuesday a live Zoom call. And working Napoleon Hill's mastermind theory of helping people through issues. And
how many people are coming on these calls lately? I mean, the groups look huge.
Yeah, we've got 15 to 20 are at each call. So
okay.
And honestly, if it gets much bigger than that, we got to open up another night because it gets unruly with everybody talking. So
you get 15 people talking anywhere. Let alone an online conference has its issues.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time muting people. That's it.
So you're done. You're done. And then you gotta come back and moderate the whole discussion.
Right, exactly.
And moderation's the best part.
Yeah.
Well, Dave, thank you so much, man.
Awesome.
Really appreciate having you on the show.
Great.
Folks, as always, you can find Dave on LinkedIn, myself on LinkedIn. Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode.